Hearing my boyfriend on Discord, I froze when he said, "She actually thinks getting knocked up will keep me around. What a delusional idiot." I was holding the positive pregnancy test I'd bought to surprise him. What Justin didn't know was that I'm not just some naive girlfriend he could manipulate and discard. I'm Emma Taylor, Senior Financial Analyst at Meridian Capital, and I make $95,000 a year managing investment portfolios for high net worth clients. More importantly, my professional network includes some of the most ruthless divorce attorneys, forensic accountants, and private investigators in the state. Men like Justin always underestimate women like me until it's too late. I'd left work early that Wednesday afternoon after a client cancellation, something that never happens in my packed schedule. For 2 weeks, I'd been experiencing exhaustion and nausea that I'd attributed to stress from closing a major account merger. But that morning, I finally bought a pregnancy test during lunch and confirmed what I'd suspected in the Walgreens bathroom. 2 clear lines. Pregnant. At 28, with a stable career and substantial savings, this wasn't a disaster. Justin and I had been together for almost 2 years, living in our shared apartment for 18 months. We'd discussed marriage and children as eventual goals. While the timing was sooner than planned, I was actually excited. I bought sparkling cider and those chocolate cupcakes he loved, planning a cute reveal for when I got home around. Justin's car was in the parking lot, which surprised me since he usually hit the gym after his work-from-home day ended. I could hear him laughing loudly as I climbed the stairs to our second-floor unit. I opened the door quietly, planning to surprise him, when his words stopped me cold. "She actually thinks getting knocked up will keep me around. What a delusional idiot." He was facing away from me at his gaming desk, Discord open on his monitor showing 4 other guys in the voice channel. My hands started shaking as he continued. "I'm already apartment hunting in Denver with my actual girlfriend. I'll make her pay for the abortion, then block her everywhere." One of his friends laughed. "Dude, that's cold." "She's just practice for the real thing," Justin replied casually. "Monica's everything she's not. Smart, hot, going places. This one's just convenient until I leave next month." I pulled out my phone and started recording, my financial analyst training kicking in. Always document everything. Always gather evidence. Justin kept talking, explaining how he'd been lying about work possibly transferring him when he was actually quitting and moving. How Monica had set up a job for him through her company in Denver. How they'd been together for 8 months. 8 months. While I'd been splitting rent, cooking dinners, doing his laundry, and building what I thought was our future together. The recording was 3 minutes of devastating evidence when Justin turned to grab his water bottle and saw me standing there. His face went white. "Babe, when did you get home?" I held up my phone, showing him the recording screen. The grocery bag slipped from my hands, cupcakes scattering across the floor. "It sounds like you have a girlfriend named Monica in Denver, and you think I'm delusional for being pregnant with your baby," I said calmly, my analytical mind already processing next steps while my heart shattered. "You're what?" He looked genuinely shocked. I pulled the pregnancy test from my purse and threw it at him. It bounced off his chest and clattered to the floor between us. "Okay, we need to talk about this rationally," he said, standing up. I laughed, but it sounded hollow. "What's rational about planning to abandon your pregnant girlfriend while screwing someone else in another state?" Justin launched into this speech about how things between us hadn't been good, how he'd been unhappy, how Monica understood him in ways I didn't. I asked when exactly things had been bad, considering we'd been planning a weekend coast trip just 2 days ago, and he'd told me he loved me every single day last week. "That's just stuff you say," he replied, and something inside me snapped. I started yelling about how he'd been lying to my face for 8 months while I paid half our rent, managed our household, and planned our future. He claimed he was going to tell me eventually, but when? When he was loading the U-Haul next month? "I never promised you forever," he said defensively. "People grow apart." When I pressed about Monica, he got that look liars get when they know they're caught. They'd met online through gaming, developed feelings, and she lived in Denver where he'd always wanted to move. It just made sense, he said, like I was a logistics problem he was solving. Does she know about me? She knows I have a roommate. Roommate? I screamed. I'm your girlfriend of 2 years who sleeps next to you every night. It's complicated, he said. We have an understanding. Does that understanding include you getting your roommate pregnant? He looked at the test on the floor. We need to figure that out. I'll pay for half the abortion. That's when my professional instincts fully kicked in. I told him to get out, but he reminded me his name was on the lease too. Fine, I'd leave. I went into our bedroom and started throwing my belongings into trash bags. He followed me, saying we should talk like adults and make a plan. I told him the plan was simple. I was leaving right now and he could have the apartment, Monica, Denver, and his gaming friends who thought I was a joke. When he tried to grab my arm, I yanked away so hard I hit my elbow on the dresser. Don't touch me, I warned, and he backed off, claiming he was sorry and hadn't wanted me to find out this way. He was going to tell me in a few weeks once he had everything arranged. Like my life was an inconvenience he was managing on his timeline. I packed 3 trash bags with clothes and toiletries, grabbed my laptop, important documents, and my grandmother's necklace. He kept following me around, trying to talk while I ignored him completely. Where are you even going to go? He asked as I loaded my car. Anywhere that's not here with you. He came down to the parking lot in his socks. We need to discuss the pregnancy situation. There is no we anymore, I said through my locked car window. There's just me dealing with a pregnancy while you called me delusional and convenient. As I drove away, he was still standing there in our parking lot claiming he loved me. But I knew the truth now. He loved Monica. What Justin didn't understand was that he'd just made the biggest strategic mistake of his life. I drove directly to my sister Louise's house, but she wasn't home from work yet. I sat in her driveway for 30 minutes, playing back the recording and taking detailed notes. Names, dates, timeline, financial implications, everything I'd need. When Louise arrived and heard the evidence, her fury matched mine. Her husband Jude looked ready to drive to our apartment and settle this physically, but I had a better plan forming. My mother arrived within 2 hours of Louise calling her. She listened to that recording twice, her face getting harder each time. When it ended, she said simply, "That boy needs to face consequences." That's when I realized I had something Justin had never bothered to learn about, a support network of intelligent, connected women who understood exactly how to systematically destroy a man who thought he could use and discard one of their own. More importantly, I had professional resources Justin couldn't even imagine. My client base at Meridian Capital included Patricia Blake, one of the state's most aggressive family law attorneys, David Foster, a forensic accountant who specialized in hidden assets, Rebecca Stone, a private investigator who'd helped me verify investment fraud in several client cases. These weren't just business contacts. After 5 years of managing their portfolios and helping them protect their wealth, they'd become genuine allies, people who owed me favors and respected my professional competence. While Justin was probably celebrating getting caught, thinking this meant he could leave guilt-free, I was already 3 steps ahead. I spent that evening documenting everything we owned together, every shared expense, every financial obligation, our lease, utilities, the furniture we'd bought together, even the vacation we'd booked for next month. Everything that would cost him money when this relationship ended on my terms, not his. My professional training had taught me that emotional decisions lead to poor outcomes. Strategic decisions lead to complete victory, and Justin was about to learn the difference. The next morning, I called Patricia Blake from Louise's kitchen while my mother made breakfast and my sister prepared for war. Patricia had been my client for 3 years, and I'd helped her grow her portfolio by 40% through careful market analysis and risk management. "Emma, what's the situation?" she asked. After I explained I needed legal consultation, I played her the recording. When it finished, Patricia was quiet for a long moment. "This is emotional infidelity, financial planning without spousal consent, and potentially coercion regarding reproductive choices," she said. "But more importantly, you have documented evidence of deliberate deception regarding major life decisions that affect both your financial future." She explained that while we weren't married, our cohabitation agreement and shared lease created legal obligations. More significantly, Justin's plan to make me pay for an abortion while he relocated for another relationship could constitute financial abuse. "What are my options?" I asked. "Let's start with the fact that he's planning to abandon a lease you're both responsible for. That could damage your credit and cost you thousands in remaining rent obligations," Patricia said. "We can make this very expensive for him very quickly." That afternoon, I met with David Foster at his downtown office. David owed me a substantial favor after I'd helped him identify tax shelters that saved his family $50,000 last year. He reviewed my documentation with professional appreciation. "Your boyfriend made two critical errors," David explained. "First, he's planning major financial moves without considering shared obligations. Second, he's underestimated the paper trail he's created." David could trace Justin's recent financial activity through his social media posts, dining receipts, and travel patterns. If he'd been funding a long-distance relationship for 8 months while claiming financial stress over our shared expenses, that created a clear picture of financial deception. "More interesting is this Monica situation," David continued. "If she's helping him secure employment and housing in Denver, there's a financial relationship here that impacts his obligations to you. We can quantify exactly how much his deception has cost you and will cost you." By Thursday evening, I had a complete strategic plan. Patricia would handle the legal pressure around our shared lease and financial obligations. David would document Justin's financial deception and calculate damages. Rebecca Stone would investigate Monica and verify the extent of Justin's lies. But the most satisfying part would be the social consequences. Because I hadn't just been recording Justin that Wednesday afternoon, I'd been documenting everything I'd need to ensure that everyone in his life knew exactly who he really was. Friday morning, I called Justin from Louise's landline, blocking the number. He answered immediately. "Where are you? I've been trying to reach you for 2 days." "I'm somewhere safe, working with attorneys to understand my legal options," I said calmly. "Attorneys? What attorneys?" "The ones who specialize in financial abuse and reproductive coercion," I replied. "Also landlord-tenant law, since you're planning to abandon our lease obligations." He went quiet. I could practically hear him calculating the implications. "Look, I know you're upset, but you're overreacting," he said. "We can work this out." "Actually, we can't. You see, Justin, I'm not some helpless girl you can manipulate and abandon. I'm a financial professional with resources you never bothered to learn about." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I make $95,000 a year managing investment portfolios for people who don't appreciate being lied to or cheated. It means I have attorneys, forensic accountants, and investigators who owe me favors. And it means you're about to discover what happens when you underestimate someone like me." I hung up and immediately called Rebecca Stone. Rebecca had worked several client cases for me, helping verify suspicious investment claims and business partnerships. She was thorough, discreet, and absolutely ruthless when protecting her clients. "I need everything you can find on Justin Hayes and Monica Stevens in Denver," I told her. "Employment, financial status, social media history, and exactly how long they've been planning this relationship." "What's the budget?" she asked. "Whatever it takes. This is personal." Within 48 hours, Rebecca had a complete dossier. Monica worked for TechVantage Solutions in Denver, a mid-level marketing position making $65,000 annually. She'd been helping Justin apply for positions in their IT department for 6 months, not 8. More importantly, She had no idea Justin was in a serious relationship. Her social media showed her as single, occasionally posting about talking to someone special, but never mentioning a boyfriend. She'd been introducing Justin to her friends as a potential relocating colleague she was helping get established in Denver. She thinks he's available, Rebecca explained. Based on their message history, which I was able to access through mutual gaming contacts, he told her you were an ex who occasionally crashed at his place. An ex who occasionally crashed there. Not his live-in girlfriend of 2 years, not the woman planning a future with him. Here's the interesting part, Rebecca continued. Justin's been funding this long-distance relationship through credit debt. 3 new credit cards in the past 6 months, all carrying balances for Denver trips, gifts for Monica, and expensive gaming equipment to impress her online friends. He'd been financing his affair and his escape plan through debt while claiming we needed to budget carefully for our shared future. That evening, I made a decision that would destroy Justin's carefully constructed lies in a single coordinated strike. I messaged Monica directly on Instagram with a professional, courteous introduction. Hi, Monica, you don't know me, but I'm Justin's girlfriend of 2 years. We live together, and I'm pregnant. I think there are some things you should know. I attached the recording, screenshots of recent text exchanges where Justin had told me he loved me, photos of us together at our apartment, and documentation of our shared lease agreement. Her response came within minutes. What the fuck? Is this real? I spent an hour on the phone with Monica, and by the end of our conversation, we both understood exactly how comprehensively Justin had lied to everyone in his life. Monica broke up with him immediately and blocked him everywhere, but I wasn't finished. Saturday morning, I sent carefully crafted messages to Justin's parents, his sister, and his closest friends. Nothing dramatic or emotional, just professional documentation of his actual behavior, supported by audio evidence and financial records. I wanted you to hear this from me directly, I wrote to his parents. Justin and I have ended our relationship due to his deception about planning to relocate with another woman while lying to both of us about his intentions. I thought you should know the actual circumstances before hearing his version of events. I included the recording and screenshots showing the timeline of his lies. His sister Kay called me immediately. Is this really what happened? She asked, sobbing. I'm afraid so. I only found out by accident. He was planning to leave next month without telling me. Oh my God, we had no idea. Mom and Dad think you two are practically engaged. They've been bragging about Justin settling down and finding such a successful girlfriend. That stung. His parents had been proud of him for dating me, not realizing he saw me as temporary and convenient. By Sunday morning, Justin's entire social network knew the truth. His parents were horrified. His sister was ashamed of him. His friends were questioning every story he'd told them about our relationship. And Justin? He was learning what happens when someone with professional resources and strategic thinking decides to stop protecting your reputation. Monday afternoon, Patricia Blake called with an update. I spoke with your landlord about the lease situation, she said. Given Justin's documented plan to abandon the apartment, they're willing to remove you from the lease obligation if you formally document his intention to relocate. What does that mean for him? He becomes solely responsible for rent through August. That's $4,000 in remaining lease obligations, plus forfeiting his security deposit. David Foster had even better news. He'd calculated that Justin's deception had cost me approximately $8,000 in shared expenses over 8 months that should have been disclosed for budgeting purposes. Money he'd claimed we needed to save while he was secretly spending on another relationship. More importantly, David explained, his credit card debt for financing this affair creates a clear picture of financial irresponsibility. If you choose to pursue any claims related to shared obligations, this becomes very expensive for him very quickly. Rebecca Stone delivered the final blow. Through her investigation, she'd connected with Monica, who was now furious about being deceived and was willing to provide testimony about Justin's lies if needed for any legal proceedings. She's also shared the story with their mutual gaming community, Rebecca reported. Apparently, Justin's online reputation is destroyed. No one trusts him anymore. That Wednesday evening, exactly 1 week after I'd overheard his Discord conversation, Justin showed up at Louise's house. He looked terrible, desperate, and completely defeated. Through the security camera, I watched him beg Jude to let him speak with me. "I need to explain everything," he said. "This has all gotten out of hand." Jude didn't open the door. "She doesn't want to talk to you, and frankly, after hearing what you said about her, I don't want you on my property. Please, I made a mistake. I can fix this." "You mean you made 8 months of daily decisions to lie and cheat?" I said through the intercom, "and the only mistake was getting caught." "I love you," he called out. "I never meant for it to go this far." "You love Monica," I replied. "Remember, I'm just practice, convenient, delusional." I watched him sit in his car outside Louise's house for an hour before finally leaving. Over the next 2 weeks, the consequences of Justin's lies multiplied beyond even my strategic planning. His parents cut him off financially after realizing how extensively he'd deceived them. His sister refused to speak to him. Several friends blocked him on social media after hearing the recording. Most satisfying, his plan to relocate to Denver collapsed entirely. Without Monica's help, he couldn't secure housing or employment. The job opportunity she'd arranged disappeared when she explained the situation to her employer. Justin was stuck in our apartment, solely responsible for rent and utilities he couldn't afford without my income. He had to take a second job to cover his new expenses. His credit score plummeted from the debt he'd accumulated, financing his affair. Meanwhile, I moved back with my parents temporarily while apartment hunting. My mother was thrilled about becoming a grandmother, and my father was proud of how I'd handled someone who tried to take advantage of his daughter. Most importantly, I'd made my decision about the pregnancy. I was keeping the baby, not because of Justin or anyone else's opinion, but because I wanted to be a mother. I had the financial stability, family support, and professional success to raise a child independently. Patricia Blake helped me file all necessary paperwork to ensure Justin could never claim ignorance about the pregnancy, while having no influence over my reproductive choices. His recorded statement about making me pay for an abortion became powerful documentation of his intentions and character. 3 months later, I was settled in a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment closer to my parents, with a nursery already being prepared. My investment portfolio had grown by another 15% through strategic market positions, increasing my annual income to $102,000. Justin, meanwhile, was struggling financially, professionally isolated, and facing the reality that his lies had cost him everything he'd claimed to want. His gaming friends still mocked him. His family had lost respect for him. Monica had shared his story widely enough that his professional reputation in Denver was destroyed. The most satisfying moment came when he reached out through a mutual friend, asking if I'd be willing to talk about working things out because he realized what he'd lost. I sent back a simple message. "You lost a successful, loyal partner who loved you. I lost a lying, cheating, manipulative boy who saw me as temporary and convenient. We both got exactly what we deserved." Justin learned too late that underestimating a woman with professional resources, strategic thinking, and the documentation to prove every lie you've told is the kind of mistake that changes your life permanently. He thought he could use me until something better came along, then discard me like I was disposable. Instead, he discovered what happens when someone truly smart decides to stop protecting you from the consequences of your own actions. Every friendship lost, every family relationship damaged, every professional opportunity destroyed happened because people learned the truth about who he really was. I kept my baby, my career, my dignity, and my future. Justin kept his lies, his debt, and the reputation he'd earned through his own choices. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't what you do to someone. It's simply allowing them to face the natural consequences of their actions without your protection. And as I felt my daughter kick for the first time, I realized the most important thing Justin had given me wasn't the pregnancy he'd tried to eliminate. It was the clarity to never again accept less than I deserved from anyone in my life.